10tv.com. Today I'm sitting here with a legend that some of y'all might not be familiar with, but if not, I'm going to give you an idea on what his legacy is. And that's pretty much already rooted, firmly rooted in music culture. This man started singing at the age of 5. By age 10, he was playing several instruments, drums, bass, guitar, sax, flute, and the trumpet. He sang backup for the legendary Earth, Wind and Fire. He also worked with gospel great Edwin Hawkins. This man has produced and written music for pop artists like Tracy Spencer and Small Change. He has also worked on Tupac's famed album Me Against the World and the Thug Life album. He also went on to do some work with the Outlaws as well. He toured with the pop rock legend John Cougar Mellencamp and the Wallflowers. He's worked on movie soundtracks such as Panther, Sprung, Fear of a Black Hat, and Tales from the Hood. He has written, for most of the favorite groups that have been out there as far as R&B is concerned. Actually, one of my favorites, New Edition. He sang on Michael Bolton's Christmas special. And he's currently doing some work with some real big legends in the game. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 10 TV, Moe Z MD.
What up, what up?
All right.
Hey, good to be here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. First of all, tell me where the name Moe Z MD came from.
It's interesting because, Mo is short for Maurice. That's my real name, Maurice. And I got that. My dad was one day. He just called me. He just said, "Hey Mo, come on." So okay. So I rolled with that for a little while. I get about 14 or 15, and I started listening to Prince and really getting into Prince music and was digging his style and everything. And he had a drummer at the time called Bobby Z. And so I was like, you know what? I could be in Prince's band. I could be his drummer. I'll be Moe Z. And I took that, and Prince also had a name when he was producing people. He would call himself Jamie Starr. So I took the Star and I made Moe Z Starr, and that's what I was known at for a while. I was known as Moe Z Starr.
All right. That's definitely that's a start. Getting it from Prince, man. That's a start.
Straight.
That's gonna actually throw me off a little bit, but I'm gonna go into no. It's perfectly fine. When I say throw me off, I mean it's I want to talk about Prince. Being that you were highly influenced by him early on. How did his passing make you feel, man?
It was real hard. It was really hard for me because for a lot of my early life, a lot of the music that I did was patterned off of the kind of funk that he did and vocals and even writing style. So it was a real big influence, musically in that way, and it was just tough. It was like it was like my brother that I grew up with, and you saw his growth all over the years and followed him and went and followed his struggles, his ups and his downs, and it just felt like a family member, it was really hard,
Yeah, absolutely, man. He's definitely one of the legends, man, and left a legacy behind that cannot be touched, man.
Indeed.
Cannot be touched, man.
And I actually got a chance to do a remix for a song he did for Tevin Campbell.
Okay.
It was called Halls of Desire.
All right.
And I did a remix for that. It didn't come out. I guess they didn't drop the single.
Right.
But so I got a chance to really, get involved with something that he was involved in, and that was kind of hard. That was real cool,
That's definitely
early in my
cool.
career.
Yeah, absolutely. How did you get started playing the instruments? Did you learn to play just by ear? How did that come about?
Yeah, actually, I was singing at first, of course, and we would go to this church in Long Beach, Antioch Baptist Church, and the musicians that they had was real inspiring. They made you want to do what they were doing. So at first, I watched the drummer. His name was Michael Withers. I would watch him play, and just would be like on the front row with my drumsticks, like trying to mimic him, but everybody else was so good too. So I wanted to be everybody. You go home from church and I was beating on the furniture, and my dad had gotten my sister a little toy piano, and I just started messing around with it. And I tried to play everything that came on TV, commercials, little themes in the shows, and that developed my ear. So I started, being able to follow where things went and started making sense out of it.
Right.
And I applied it to each instrument. It was just, the same theory is just different fingers.
Right. Okay. All right. Is there a particular instrument you like to play better than the others, or are they all like your babies?
It to me, drums is just the most fun, the most. Of course, it's definitely the most. What do you call it? You have the most responsibility as a drummer because everybody's following you.
Right.
And it's a challenge sometimes, but that's the instrument that I love the most. I have the most fun playing it, and I'll go as far as singing lead vocals while I'm playing just so I can play. Like, can you want him to play while you sing lead? No. I got it.
All right, definitely. You've been in this game for a long time, and you started off early on. You did work with Earth, Wind, and Fire. What's something that you learned from them that you still carry to this day to survive in this industry?
Well, I would definitely say it's a attitude towards music and towards people that it was like they were real humble but very smart musically, and I think that was the impact more when I saw them. I grew up, of course, listening to their music, but when I was able to go and sing with them, it was like watching them in their element live and seeing them just control the crowd and have fun, and they had so many hits, and that kind of made it important to me to write songs that will last more than just the time period that it's in. Because when I listened to Earth, Wind & Fire, when I started really paying attention to it, I was older, and it had been songs from the 70s, but now I'm in the 80s and I'm understanding it, and I'm really more into it, and really seeing what they're doing and approaching it from a different standpoint. So I think just really listening to what I think Maurice White's production of the group, analyzing that and how they did the vocals and stuff, it really just shaped me as a producer, because those are the things that I look for in all songs. I look for continuity and things to make sense, not just random instruments or random vocals. Here, say that. Everything had to make you, when you listen back to it would replay in your head like, wow, okay, it's a pattern. It's I don't know. It's just more thought than I guess normal.
Okay, all right. Like I said, you worked with a lot of artists. Tell us about some of those successes, like working with radio, which actually led up to you meeting and working with Tupac. How did that come about? As far as radio, what was it like working with them?
Radio was good. I met Radio, of course, in Long Beach, and we were kids, young, and the day that I met him, he was beatboxing for Snoop. And you know how everybody do like freestyle battles and stuff.
Right.
So we're in front of Poly High School, and Snoop is battling my homeboy, and I'm beatboxing for him. And it's like it's like the mid '80s. So I'm on that. I'm on that.
Right.
Radio was on some like scratching.
Right.
Without a microphone, it was loud, and he like the beats that he was doing. It was like, what? And that's why they called him Radio, because he can make sounds that was just incredible. Radio was actually the second one out of Long Beach to get a record deal, and his was with Interscope. And it was before Snoop and those guys got signed.
Right.
And originally when he did it, my dude Keith Clark, who was one of my mentors, he was producing the project, and they were having some issues. So he asked me if I wanted to produce some stuff, and so I hooked up with Radio, and we just made a bunch of stuff, and it was really like on some gangster kind of stuff. But then Snoop came and signed with Interscope, and his gangster stuff was like, you know, it had gotten bigger and bigger. So they tried to get us to make radio more like Heavy D, because he could do party type music.
Right.
And so it was a little cleaner, but you know, so they had him doing that. We revamped the project, and we re-recorded and re-recorded. Then Snoop got bigger and bigger, and they said, "Hey, listen, the gangster rap stuff is really working now. I want you guys to go back and revamp." So we revamped and did more gangster rap stuff. By this time, you know, Tupac, everybody had signed, and Tupac was in I think it was John McClane's office, because that's who radio's A&R was, and was listening to some of the tracks that we had done, and he was like, "Who is that? Who is that?" And he's like, "That's radio." He said, No, wait, who's on the track? Who did the music?" So he told him who I was, and you know, at the time I didn't really have as much juice. I had been producing, but the things I had done were pop music.
Right.
So now this is rap, and I had escaped from pop, and I'm like, this is my first professional rap thing that, you know, because radio had the deal, but he still didn't have the popularity or the juice, you know, but this was my first thing. So Tupac wanted me to do 3 remixes. One was From the Cradle to the Grave, Running from the Police, and Lord Knows. And so I flipped those tracks, and I didn't do too much to Running from the Police, but I did some stuff to it, and had actually had radio on the hook. He was doing some Rasta.